So this week, we've got an amazing lineup of stuff from deep sky, planets, the moon, you name it. It's busy this week. Why don't we get started? So we're going to jump right into the planetarium program, and I'm going to show you the sky as it appears right now, today, February 1st. If you're watching this archived, don't forget, there's timestamps on the YouTube finished video where you could jump ahead to whatever date you want in the week. Day of the week is right there, so feel free. That's in the description in the YouTube post-production video. That will be up later on Monday, February 1st. So there's a lot of things in the sky, and first off, February 1st, Mercury. We got to talk about the innermost planet. The innermost planet is still visible to us. Last week, end of January, was really one of the prime times for evening observing of the innermost planet, the planet that's closest to the sun. Now, Mercury is usually very challenging to find especially for those new to stargazing, watching the skies. But sometimes it pulls away far enough from the sun, from our vantage point, that we get to see it. And that's what's happening early this week and last week, in fact. So if I move this a few minutes after your local sunset, you can see as the glare of the sunset kind of diminishes over the next few minutes after the sun has set, what you'll see is little Mercury right there hiding in that glare of the sunset. So we're talking about 15 minutes to a half hour after your local sunset. Find a spot, of course. Find a location where you get a clear view of where that sun will set, right down to the horizon if possible. It'll make it much easier for you to spot this planet. But you don't have to. I mean, if you're stuck in an area like in suburbs where you can find a place where it's pretty clear to the southwest, no trees or hills or anything like that, buildings, then you've got a good chance of seeing Mercury still early this week. So we've got it for February 1st. But you'll see that if I post this, show this in terms of moving forward from day to day, you'll see that Mercury is slowly going down. Same time, every night, it's getting closer and closer to the sun. So by the end of the week, it'll make it even more challenging. Like the end of the first week of February, it'll be more challenging. Every day, it'll be more challenging. So this is a really good time because it's in the evening. You don't have to get up early in the morning, as is the case in a few weeks from now. This is a really good way to see it in the evening skies just after your local sunset. And those of you that are in more southerly latitudes, I'm located in Montreal, Canada, but if you're in more southerly latitudes, closer to the equator or in the southern hemisphere, Mercury will appear a little bit farther away from the sun in a little bit slightly darker sky, making it a little bit easier for you to hunt down that innermost little elusive planet. It's one of the 5 classic naked eye planets, meaning it was seen by the ancient astronomers in ancient Greece and ancient Rome. They followed Mercury. They noticed that this was a star that wandered in front of the backdrop of constellations, which are fixed stars. And you can see it for yourself. It's it's the most elusive of the 5 classical naked eye planets. And I know what you're asking. What are the 5 classical naked eye planets that you can see, even from suburbs, by the way? That would be, of course, you've got not only Mercury, but you've got Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn joining Mercury as well. But Mercury tends to be the most difficult to see. And it's a tricky time, the timing has to be just right to be able to pick that out. So check that out. I think it's kind of neat to be able to see this innermost planet, and now's the time for doing that. So if we kind of wade into the darker part of the night, so let's wait a little bit as night falls, darkness envelops the entire night sky. what can you see? Well, there's a lot of really interesting things. First off, of course, let's not forget Mars and Uranus are visible also in the sky. So we're looking in the high southwestern sky. Mars is that bright orange-red star, still quite visible in the southwest in the evening. And then next to it is very super faint, the green-colored star Uranus, which you need probably binoculars or a small telescope to pick that out. Binoculars will be easy. You can find Uranus near Mars, and Mars acts as a wonderful guidepost in being able to see it. So if you want to see in terms of a binocular kind of view, this is kind of, I can't even fit it in here, but that's, you'll be able to see it in a pair of binoculars just to the lower right of Mars. So you're looking for a very super faint green star or small disk, tiny disk, faint. It's the only green star-like object. That is Uranus, and it's located, remember, it's over 2 billion kilometers away from Earth, while Mars is clocking in at around 200 million kilometers away from Earth. It takes light about 11 minutes to reach your eye from Mars, just so that you know. And let's not forget, big news coming on February 18th, NASA is landing its Perseverance rover. This giant SUV-sized rover will be landing on Mars on February 18th, and we'll be covering that here. I'll be having a live stream of the landing. I'm hoping we'll be able to have it safely touch down on the red soil of Mars, and it'll be really exciting to see that. And I'll be sharing that with you, so stay tuned for that. Mars 18th, mark that down on your calendar. And so we're heading to some really interesting times in terms of Mars exploration. So what will the rover find? Don't forget, its main mission is to look at, search for evidence of ancient life. It has a drone helicopter prototype on board that they'll be testing. So it's really an exciting mission. And you can see Mars for yourself in the skies above. So that's really cool. Now, what I want to focus, and I alluded to this last week, is the giant hexagon star formation that you're seeing right here. This is something I wanted to concentrate on this week because we're heading into a time where the moon is out of the early evening sky, leaving it dark. And as those of you that come by to my shows every week, you know that the moon really is great as a guidepost to finding things, but it's also wonderful to know when it's out of the sky, when you want to go out observing, and that leaves behind a darker sky. Without that glare, that bright glare of the moon, we don't have anything to filter out the fainter stuff, and in particular, we're talking about starlight. So we get to see stars and all the treasures in the constellations and be able to make out constellations, trace them out much more easily when the moon is out of the way. So that's why I'm really always making sure you guys know when that's happening, when the moon is out of the evening sky, leaving behind a dark heaven for us to be able to explore the deep sky treasures that are there. So that's what we're talking about with the winter hexagon. Now, this is a fantastic site because it's easy to find even in suburban skies, and it's a great way to begin to learn the night sky. So anytime this week, I've got it set up here for Monday, February 1st, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these are going to be great times to look for the winter hexagon. And it's a challenge I put out for you guys out there. So we've got it here set up, and you can see the red line traces out a hexagon pattern, right? A 6-sided pattern that's visible. Marked, each corner of this pattern of this hexagon is marked by a bright star or a pair of stars. So what we have here at the top here is, again, looking towards the southeast, right? Southeast, so you kind of almost turn your back towards where the sun has set. That's the part of the sky you're looking at. And let it get totally dark when you're looking for this. But you're going to be looking for this pattern, hexagon pattern, made up of some stars. The top, the star that's going to be the highest in your sky is going to be Capella. Okay? Capella is a brilliant orange, yellowish star that's located in the constellation Auriga the Charioteer. Okay, Auriga the Chariot. If we zoom in, you'll see the mythological constellation. Sorry, not the Chariot. That's actually another constellation. It's the Auriga the Shepherd. So this is really a really nice constellation to see. You'll be able to make out the individual stars. It kind of looks like a house on its side. You can see, and I'll have sky charts for all of this, by the way, so don't worry about it. But Capella is the brightest star in Auriga, and it's about 42 light years away. So that means that you're actually seeing the light from Capella as the star appeared 42 years ago, left on its journey 42 years ago. And that's what you're seeing now, this beautiful star. And Capella. And that marks the top of the Great Hexagon, this giant hexagon pattern of stars, the sky. So that's one constellation you'll know the location of, is by marking that star Capella. Now, if we move to the lower right, you'll see another star in the constellation Taurus, Taurus the bull. And in there is a bright star called Aldebaran. Let's see if I can mark that. There we go, Aldebaran. Now, Aldebaran is a star that's about 66 light years away. It's an orange giant star. It marks the red eye of the bull, Taurus the bull, and you can see that configuration of the bull right there. And that is going to be a very easy star for you to see. Again, even from suburban city lights, a lot of light pollution, you should be able to mark out the second star. So we're talking, again, lower right from Capella, all right? So where Capella's up here, and then Aldebaran and Taurus is down here. Now we're going to move straight down from Aldebaran, move down the sky, closer to your horizon, and you'll see another bright bluish white star. This is called Rigel. Rigel marks one of the feet of Orion the Hunter. You'll know that it's Orion because next to Rigel will be 3 bright stars that'll mark the belt of Orion. Very, very distinctive, and it'll be easy to see. These 3, so it's just to the lower right of these 3 bright stars, just underneath it. That bright star is called Rigel. And amazingly enough, you see how bright it is? It's, we've been talking about, compare it to Aldebaran, right? In Taurus up here, you were talking about the Aldebaran and the Hyades cluster right there, and then Rigel. They're all, bright stars. But guess what? While Aldebaran was 66 light years away, Rigel is an impressive 880 light years away. So you're looking back in time, 880 years, when you look at Rigel, this bright star in the constellation Orion. Okay, that was our next stop in going around this giant hexagon. So if we go to the lower right of Rigel now, we sweep to the lower left, sweep to the lower left of Rigel, you'll get to the brightest star in the entire sky. There's nothing brighter than Sirius. And Sirius marks the brightest member in the constellation Canis Major, the big dog. Okay, there's the big dog right there. You can see the mythological figure. And Sirius marks the brightest star. It's the brightest part of Canis Major. It's a small, minor constellation, but Sirius is really bright. And it's bright for a good reason, because it's only 8.6 light years from Earth. So it's really close. It's one of the closest stars to our planet, and that's why it shines so brilliantly in our night skies this time of the year. So check that out. So there we go. We've got another part of our hexagon down, and then we're moving on to another star nearby, Procyon. Now, Procyon is quite a bit fainter than Sirius, but still, nevertheless, something very easy to see with the naked eye. And we can zoom in, and it's the brightest star, Procyon is, of the constellation Canis Minor. And Procyon is 11.4 light years away. So you're looking just over 11 years into the past when you're looking at Procyon. So what I mean by this is that it takes that long light, particles of light, The waves of light to travel across space from that star to reach your eye here on planet Earth. 11 years journey. That's how far away these objects are. It's really incredible. We don't really use kilometers or miles in measuring distance to the stars because they're just too far away. The numbers would be just, it would be just too much. It just too cumbersome. So we're talking about hundreds of trillions of miles and kilometers, and that's just not really practical. So astronomers have come up with light years, the distance that light travels in 1 year. And so, per second, light travels 330,000 kilometers per second. And here we are looking at a star that's 11 light years away. So really interesting. It's taken 11 years for that light to reach us. Now let's move out. So we've started at Capella up here, right? We moved on to Aldebaran. Then we moved on to Rigel in Orion. Then Sirius in Canis Major. And then Canis Minor has Procyon, the little dog. And then we come up to these two stars that mark kind of a side together. And that is, of course, the Gemini twins. You've got Castor, which is 50.9 light years away, and you have Pollux, which is 33.8 light years away. They mark the heads of Gemini constellation twins right there. So we've got that, and then of course we reach go back after that. If we go straight back up, you reach to Capella. So this is what we call the giant hexagon, or the winter hexagon for those of you that are joining me from the northern hemisphere. But this is something that's visible right around the world. It's a great time of the year to see it. And by the way, I've got a separate video on YouTube that gives this tour of the winter hexagon. I'll post a link to that in the comment section below, so you don't want to miss it. And we dive into a little more detail with each star. And it's a great primer for you in learning a whole series of constellations, bright stars, and this is how you begin to navigate the night sky. And inside this group of stars, there is a number of treasures. And to find those deep sky treasures that are scattered throughout the Milky Way galaxy, these are gas and dust clouds, star clusters, it's really important to be able to know where you are. Just like when you go on vacation and you go to a big city somewhere, you need to know and navigate, use your smartphone, use Google Maps or whatever you may be using to figure out where to find your places of interest that you'd like to visit. And the same holds true with the night sky. You need to know your major landmarks in the sky to find stuff. And the winter hexagon is fantastic to be able to do that. So do check the winter hexagon. We're going to explore more about the winter hexagon next week. So do stay tuned. We're going to start diving into some of the juicy stuff that's embedded and nestled into these constellations. So you don't want to miss that. So that's basically what you can do anytime this week. Next week is going to be fantastic. Next 2 weeks to learn about the winter hexagon. So do take a chance to do that. Now, on Friday this week, you'll also want to look for, without the moon being in the way, the next 2 weeks is really good for seeing the zodiacal lights. Now, the zodiacal lights are going to look like a cone of light. So what you're going to be looking for in the southwestern sky, about 45 minutes to an hour after your local sunset, is a pyramid of light. It looks like something like a glow from the city, and you really need to be outside of the city to see this. So if you're stuck within the suburbs or in the city, you're not going to see this. But those of you that can manage to go out to the dark countryside where it's no light pollution whatsoever, then I recommend being able to try to see this cone of light, this pyramid shape of light in the southwest, like I said, about 45 minutes to an hour after your local sunset. It's called the zodiacal light. This pyramid shaped glow is caused by countless number of dust particles floating between the planets in our solar system. They're kind of leftover bits and pieces from the formation of the solar system. So whatever didn't make it into becoming moons and planets and asteroids and comets, all those things, they were little bits of sand and dust that just sort of just in the plane of the solar system, all spread out, billions and billions of them. And this time of the year, there's a 2-week window where we can see this cone of light, where the sunlight kind of refracts off of these dust grains that are scattered in space, and that's what forms what's called the zodiacal light. I'll put a separate link, a post about this, so you'll see what I mean with a nice image that's been taken of the zodiacal light, and you'll see what I mean by the cone-shaped light. It's a very elusive, kind of challenging observing phenomenon, but zodiacal light is really cool because it really is a set of objects, really countless number of objects that are floating in space, these dust particles. So that's what zodiacal lights are, and this week and next week are really the prime time in the evening and the southwest for those of you, and by the way, this is for the northern hemisphere, you'll be able to see that very well. So now, let's finish off with some early morning observing. I know some of you like to get up in the morning, so why don't we move over to the early morning skies. I'm going to set this for Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to go into the sun just before sunrise. And here we are, we've got our sky set up, and you'll see that beautiful crescent moon. Just watch for that crescent moon. So this is Saturday morning, okay? Check that out. Look at that, February 6th. You've got the beautiful moon pinning down. Let's see if we can just highlight that there. So this is February 6th, just before your local sunrise. I'd say go out about an hour before your local sunrise, so you'll be able to watch this set of objects, and look for that beautiful crescent moon. Just off to the side of where the sun will rise. You'll see that glow. And look underneath the moon. You see that? That is Antares, a brilliant orange-colored star that really marks the, if I move this off really before, earlier before dawn in the morning twilight, you'll see the mythological constellation of Scorpius. Now, Scorpius is normally, we talk about it as an evening constellation during the summertime in the northern hemisphere. That's the prime time for us to see Scorpion. But it's visible all year round, but you just have to wake up early to see it this time of the year. It is visible in the skies all and throughout the world. This is something visible where you are. But if you wait about a half hour before your local sunrise, that's when you'll see that star alone without very much other stellar objects in the area, and the moon will be it'll be a great guidepost, that beautiful crescent moon. Again, this is Saturday morning, and if we move over to Sunday morning, you'll see the moon will have moved even closer to the sun, right? It's heading to the new moon phase by next week. And that's why next week is also a wonderful time to see stellar objects, deep sky objects, because the moon won't be glaring in our evening skies. And so it's these next 2 weeks, just fantastic to see stuff, deep sky stuff. But what I want you to also notice is some planets that have returned into our view, but in the early morning. Do you guys remember we were talking so much about Saturn and Jupiter, right? And guess what? Saturn and Jupiter are returning into our skies. And this weekend, for those of you that want a really good challenge, with binoculars and telescopes, you guys can get to see a really wonderful pairing here. You can see Venus and Saturn, and Jupiter is next door too. So you'll see this is the view on Sunday, and if I move it back to Saturday, look at this. Saturday, this is again Saturday, February 6th. This is the view that greets you. Venus and Saturn. These two objects will be close together in the skies in the morning. Super close conjunction, really close, reminiscent of what we were talking about when Jupiter and Saturn were in the evening skies in December. You guys remember that? It was really incredible. But this is going to be something that you'll see with binoculars. Of course, the two will be easily separated. With the naked eye, you'll have a very big challenge with that. But with a telescope, look at the view. Look at this. Look at what you can do. You'll be able to see the rings of Saturn, and you can see Venus as a disk. The two together, isn't that incredible? That's with a small telescope. This is something that if you have a small telescope lying around it in a closet somewhere, this is an amazing sight to be able to see these two planets so close together in the sight of binoculars and small telescopes. And all this action is happening very low to the southeast horizon. Okay, you need a clear view to the southeast horizon, and we're talking about 45 minutes to 20 minutes before your local sunrise. Looking towards the southeast, you'll see Saturn. Venus will be the brightest, and of course, Saturn will be there above Venus. This is on Saturday. But let's look at this. By Sunday, look how much Venus has sunk and Saturn has risen, and that's what will happen. Saturn, they'll pull apart from each other. Jupiter and Saturn are rising, and so by next week, by Wednesday, you'll even have the moon, a sliver of the moon, on February 10th, very close to pair. We'll talk more about that next week. But what a sight! Being able to see Saturn on Saturday and Venus on Saturday so close together before sunrise. It's an observing challenge, but it's really amazing to do. So there you've got it, guys. And of course, if you haven't yet, please do subscribe. If you like videos like this, I post them every week. We're on here every Monday. I've got my weekly Night Sky This Week show, and I post other live streams about rocket launches and post videos about all kinds of amazing astronomical discoveries that you don't want to miss. So join me. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button if you like this video. And of course, I wish all of you guys, no matter where you're watching, I want you guys to stay safe and healthy during these very strange times we're living. And of course, I want to wish all of you clear skies. See you on the next video. Bye-bye.